All right, those of you guys that watch this channel know I love my Weider Ultimate Body Works. Even though I've transitioned to a total gym, I'm still planning on using and keeping my Weider Ultimate Body Works. So in this video, I wanted to give you guys a close to 10-year recap and review on the machine. I'll talk about the wear and tear, just see me go through some workouts and talk about still how the machine kind of feels. Before I go on though, guys, if you like this content, want to see more of it, please like and or subscribe. I'll put timestamps and link in the description box as always. This was actually when I actually purchased the product. I thought I purchased it a little bit earlier, but I purchased it in December 26, 2011 when I did like an Amazon search. It originally was called the Weider Total Body Works 5000. You'll see as we compare it to the the renamed Weider Ultimate Body Works, the model is essentially unchanged other than just some colors. I couldn't find anything that was too different between this. So this is what it looks like now. Again, the Weider Ultimate, it's called the Weider Ultimate Body Works. It's on sale now for $168, and this kind of goes in and out of stock. But I thought I purchased my original model. I used to reference saying I purchased it for like $120. I even thought I saw it as low as like $100 at a time. I still think I did because these things kind of do fluctuate, but this seems to be the go-to price. But apparently I bought it for $149 with a $100 gift card. So I probably bought this as like a Christmas gift card or something, since I bought it after December 26th. But I had a gift card, and that's, I guess, the motivation of why I bought it. I'll talk more about that. One thing as we're kind of getting into it, I will just say with this, as I'm kind of holding this, I'm just picking up and holding it just to kind of showcase one thing I love about this machine is just how light and compact it is. That's one of the biggest benefits I like compared to this versus a total gym. This could easily be packed up and thrown in a car. You could bring this outside, just easily walk it up the steps. This is in my basement. I can walk this up my steps and just throw it in outside. But I love how easy it is to set up and how easy it is and how compact it is. That's one of the best things I love about this machine. Because I said this before, what I love about this machine is just its simplicity. When I purchased this machine though, I had no intention of really, even earlier videos, I seem to do a review of this, I had no intention of like just doing this machine long term. I was more or less kind of looking at it as something to kind of supplement the gym, to kind of do at the house. I right away just loved the machine, but I was always saying I'm still more of a gym person. Other than now, I'm pretty much do all my workouts exclusively from home. Here you guys are seeing me just kind of showing you guys, as you can see it from bottom going to up, kind of showcasing some of the general wear and tear, how the machine looks. I'll showcase the pull-up bars, which pretty much for the most part are really good condition. None of that rubbering has really got scratched off or worn. A little bit of like kind of rust and wear and tear and just like the nuts and bolts, but the mechanics pretty much work. I'll talk about the cable. If anything, when it's not as smooth, I'm sure, as it used to be, as I'm kind of pressing it, I think there's little like ridges and notches, like you can see the cable's kind of broken in, so that plastic coating is kind of like has this little like cracks in it, so it has this kind of a rougher, not as much of a smooth rotation. I know you can fix that. People have talked about they can fix it. I'm not a handyman, and it's one of those things, honestly, with this machine. Here's a pull-up bar. I did lose the pads years ago, so that I wasn't really concerned about, but I think they slipped off and eventually just kind of threw them away. I think that's what happened. I'm not really a handyman, but I know you can fix a lot of these things. Here's general wear and tear. This has been happening for a while. Sometimes hear this little clicking noise if I put my weight on the back of the machine. That clicking noise is the rubbing of this little nut under the little cable down there. So unlike a total gym, this thing doesn't detach off, which I kind of like. I mean, the thing makes some clanging noises, but I actually like having that little cable kind of attached to there. Other big wear and tear that happened really early on with the machine with me was just that top portion of that squat stand started wearing away. I think just from me, that the weight of just kind of sitting on it and pulling on it eventually kind of gave way. But otherwise, as far as the actual like surface area of the machine, it's not too bad. Another huge area is just this wobbling of the machine. Some people have commented on this video as they watch it and watch me doing it. Yeah, you can, especially if I jump from my total gym onto this, you notice it. But with a lot of these things, honestly, if you don't know any better, if you're used to using this machine, you probably won't even notice it. Like, as rugged as this thing kind of feels, like the lack of kind of smoothness and aggressiveness it kind of feels from jumping on my total gym, I never really noticed it until I got the total gym and just kind of noticed that difference between that. Under the machine, this is me. I thought this was actually from moving, because one time I had this moving and the movers kind of wrapped this plastic, but this had to be plastic that was just on the machine when I purchased it, so I never took it off. There's the actual stretch bands. These, I'm sure maybe they were tighter initially, but honestly, when you actually use them and put them to use, they're still just as, they still have a good stretch to them. They still have a good tension to them. So even though they might look kind of loose, that they're okay. There's the stapling on the side. I mean, the actual, I forget the word whatever you call that, when you put the stuff over stuff. Someone correct me down below. But anyways, all that stuff is pretty much really tightly sealed. A little bit of aggressiveness when you kind of slide it, you feel it kind of a little bit of aggressive kind of notch. This little thing here likes to come off, that little screw. That's something else that's kind of annoying. But overall, I mean, those are some big things. Here's like I'm just showing the quality of the actual screws and nuts and bolts. A little kind of like rusting there. Otherwise, pretty good shape. I'm going to show you guys the elastic component here in a second, how this looks. Really good stretch, you can see. Even now, if I'm still using this and I put like 1 or 2 cables on or bungees, they still feel like pretty good tension. All 4 feels pretty good for tension wise. So, and I've had periods I've left these, I forgot to detach these. I always want to detach them to keep the integrity of the bungees good, but sometimes I've left them on there for a few days or even weeks or months, I think, in the past. So here's just me jumping into it. You can just see some those plastic things kind of fell off, but here's me just doing some exercises. Do take note that I'm going to shift to my left side here. Like I notice as I'm pressing, notice how this machine likes to kind of like bow into the left. That's one big, I'd say, utility flaw that I've noticed, and I think I'm trying to look if there's a way to kind of correct that, or if that's just from use of me, you know, kind of leaning one way. There was a bolt in the middle of the machine that I only recently realized that was missing, so that could have been years of just doing that improperly. So otherwise, in general, comparing just how these initial press, like the shoulder press, chest press feels, and the pullovers, it has a closer, like the cables are closer together compared to a total gym, which I actually kind of like with a lot of exercises. It makes it a little more aggressive with the flies. In general, though, I'd say with this machine, the tension is still really there. Everything as far as like working order, as far as how everything works and kind of feels after all these years. The only thing I'd say is the big problem, the noticeable problem, is like the kind of shift to the left side and a little bit of like, there's just kind of like a bumpy ride to it because the cables have been kind of worn in a little bit. But I still love, I mean, that pull-up bar and different pull-up bar positions with different grips you can get is a huge selling point for me on this machine. I did that earlier. I'll put a link down below. I should have said this in the beginning about when I compared this model to the Total Gym. I don't really want to do that as much, but it's hard not to. The shoulder press, just the way this feels perfect. Notice like, yeah, there's some clanging on the machine. That never really bothers me. That's something that after all these years, I never noticed that clanging of like maybe because I have headphones in, people have complained about that. I've never noticed much clanging with like the handlebars. The handlebars, I forgot to notice, those broke a while ago. I replaced them with some new ones, and actually these broke. If you pay close attention to them, I gotta buy a new pair of them. I think I'm actually gonna order a same company, but they broke, I think, because I did something kind of aggressive with them and actually stretched them out, but that's another story. But this middle kind of pull, you can see that I really like how this machine, because it's so closely centered together, to me, I always love how this back exercise feels. This double cable pull, feels on this machine. Pullovers feel really good. Point is, upper body wise, this machine after all these years, it still gets the job done. It's just a little bit more of a less of a bumpy ride, and there's a little bit of kind of like a swayness to it. So that could be, again, I pretty much beat the crap out of this machine. I mean, I stand on it. I'm really aggressive with it. I definitely don't baby it, but also consider that this is me kind of getting into heavy use with the machine. This last couple years is when I really started kind of using this machine again. There's been years where I haven't even touched this thing. So I probably should just say that, you know, if you're using this thing for daily use over and over and over again for over 10 years, you know, maybe that's something we kind of set with it. This would be something I kind of would touch and go throughout the years I'm using it. But as far as the overall functionality of the machine, I can't see anything really wearing out. I think something should be said just about the padding and just the way that Weider Ultimate Body Works logo. You can still see it. That looks pretty much unchanged. That's still really tight. What I love about this, even as you're seeing it here, is that compared to, I don't mean to keep comparing it, but there's no like slippage on the machine. Like, you have a nice kind of grip to that. I've said this before on a Total Gym that I like to always slide down this machine. I'm just saying the integrity and just quality of the padding is still good. Other than those notches, I think that just the pulling on the weight and the tension kind of wears it out. Here's me just doing some leg exercises. I'd say, again, after all these years, if there's one thing I would say that this machine can lack in some areas, it's the legs, and really it can be replaced if it had a bigger squat stand. So people have talked about getting this thing welded in some way, but if that squat stand was just a little bit bigger, a little bit wider, you know, unfortunately you can't replace the Total Gym one. Doesn't fit in this particular, like, holes are closer together in this machine. Otherwise that'd be great, but it's still doable. You can still definitely work your legs. People have commented on, well, instead of doing some banded stuff in the machine, maybe just do some standing banded squats or just do some leg stuff, not using the machine. That's definitely a valid point, that you could just, you know, forget doing legs and do some other stuff outside of this machine. But I will say that there's still some great stuff. I mean, I like doing this exercise right here with the weighted tension. I like those weighted squats. You're going to see one of my favorite exercises to do here in a second, which is this one, this prone squat on the machine with the tension. With the Weider Ultimate Body Works, those tension bands always just feel really good. because it kind of keeps you locked in the machine. Another option to add more tension is doing what I'm doing here. I always find this feels doesn't feel that uncomfortable. This is another go-to exercise. When I did this workout, I probably could have done this workout, just this exercise, for I think I did at least 6 or 7, possibly 8 reps. Just kept doing maybe higher repetitions and kept doing sets and sets with this. So that's a really good exercise. You want to supplement with some stuff outside of it. I even trust this machine enough to kind of do these inverted, what do you call it? It's like leg curls with the machine. I've linked these down below as well. Always these D-Moves ankle straps. If you're gonna use ankle straps, make sure you get one that's pretty secure, but really easy to set up. And honestly, this machine, even though I said it's kind of lacking on legs, for leg curls, this feels really good. I just make sure I scoot back enough so that my knee is just kind of just behind the pad there, so I can get a nice kind of range of motion. And in my opinion, this is an excellent hamstring exercise. I don't know too many stuff you can do at your home that really isolates the legs with tension that you kind of replicate like a leg curl in the gym. So great exercise. Not so good, even though though you can do these, I don't feel as much tension with the leg extensions. They're still good, they're decent, but a little bit kind of a wider base when your feet are. But this is another exercise. Love doing this too. Notice it's still got a lot of play on it. And one thing to say that I should say a lot of, comparing this, again, just not doing too much of this, but with a total gym, everything really stays on the track in this machine. I very rarely have this machine come off the track. In a total gym, at least the one that I have, the Fit, the thing is always coming off the track. It's annoying. It'll come off like sideways if I bump it sideways, or if I go up stuff up the top, it'll get stuck on the top off the track. This one's really secure. Even these glute kickbacks, you can see just pretty much can handle a beating. The weight limit is 250 on this, a little bit lower, but people have heard as high as 280 can use this machine. So that's pretty much it. My final verdict on this machine, guys, even though maybe that might be kind of redundant in some of the stuff I've said, is that even after 10 years, this machine is still not bad as far as quality-wise for the price. In my opinion, it's a nice entry-level thing to at least try out if you're going to at least add something to your house, or if you're on the fence about seeing, well, would I like this, might I not like this, instead of investing in a really expensive sliding bench. This is an entry-level thing that won't cost that much. And possibly you could probably find one used somewhere if you're even cheaper, but even so, entry level, it's still an affordable price. So that's it, you guys. Any questions or comments about this machine or this product, definitely let me know. This is the machine after close to 10 years of use, so hopefully you got something out of it. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.